So let's talk about something huge happening in tech right now. It's this massive divide. And I'm not talking about different gadgets, Apple versus Android. This is about a fundamental split in how technology is being designed to interact with our brains, and it's creating two very, very different paths for our minds.
Does this sound familiar to you? You sit down, you try to read a book, maybe watch a long movie, and just a few minutes in, you feel that twitch, that urge to just check your phone. If you feel that, you are definitely not alone. It's a feeling so many of us have, and there's actually a name for what might be going on. You've probably heard this term thrown around, TikTok brain. And look, it's not just some catchy buzzword. It's actually a shorthand for a very real phenomenon. The way our brains might be getting rewired by that constant, never-ending stream of short, super fast-paced videos we scroll through every single day. All right, so here's the game plan. We're going to start by really digging into this TikTok brain idea and see what the actual research says about it. Then we're going to do a complete 180 and look at the other side of tech. We'll explore this idea of AI as a new kind of thought partner. And then we'll wrap it all up by figuring out what does this all mean for us, for our digital future.
Okay, first up, the TikTok brain. This whole section is about how that endless scroll of short-form video, we'll just call it SFV, might be fundamentally changing our ability to just focus. And to get a sense of the scale here, just think about this number. Some studies show that heavy users are spending up to 95 minutes a day on apps like TikTok. That's more than an hour and a half every single day, just consuming hundreds and hundreds of totally unrelated clips. It's that sheer volume that's really key.
But okay, that's the feeling, that's the anecdotal side. What's the actual science behind this sense that our attention spans are getting shorter? Let's dive into the evidence.
So the core skill we're really talking about here is something called sustained attention. You can think of it like a mental muscle. It's your brain's ability to lock onto one thing, a task, a conversation, a book, and just hold that focus without getting pulled away. It's absolutely crucial for deep work, for learning, for solving any kind of complex problem.
And what researchers are finding is honestly a little concerning. Heavy use of short-form video is being linked pretty consistently to some real-world effects, a measurable drop in that sustained attention muscle, which then can lead to things like poor academic performance and, you guessed it, more procrastination. It goes even deeper, though, showing impaired attentional control in general, and there's even evidence of actual physical changes to our brain's reward circuits.
So why is this happening? Well, pediatric clinicians have a perfect name for these platforms. They call them a dopamine machine. See, every new video is a tiny, novel reward, a little hit of that feel-good chemical, dopamine. This process literally trains our brains to crave constant, instant gratification, which makes it so much harder to stick with tasks that require patience and don't give you that immediate reward.
And we're not talking about a small effect here. One study found that the time students spent watching Reels accounted for a staggering 25% of the difference in their academic performance. A quarter. That is a huge impact on something as important as education.
So we've got focus, we've got academics, but what if this went even deeper? What if it wasn't just about how you think, but how you physically interact with the world around you?
This is fascinating. Researchers are now exploring this really surprising link between watching short-form videos and your fine motor skills. Things like how fast and accurately you can type. Now, why would there be a link? Well, it's grounded in neuroscience. The same part of your brain that handles your attention, the prefrontal cortex, is also connected to your motor systems. So the theory goes, if SFE use weakens one of those functions, it might just spill over and affect the other.
Okay, that's a pretty bleak picture, right? But is that the whole story? Is every piece of technology just pushing us toward being more fragmented and more distracted? Well, not necessarily. Let's look at the other side of this whole tech divide.
And this slide just lays it out perfectly. It really is a tale of two technologies. On one side, you have the fragmented focus tech, that chaotic tornado of constant context switching, endless novelty, and just passive consumption. But on the other side, a completely different model is emerging, augmented intellect, which is technology designed specifically for sustained reasoning and deep, complex problem solving.
And this brings us to this idea of a new kind of tool. Let's explore AI that isn't built to distract you, but is explicitly designed for the kind of deep, focused thinking that the TikTok brain might be chipping away at. As a perfect case study, let's look at the new generation of AI models.
They are being built from the ground up for depth, for nuance, for really advanced reasoning. Basically, the exact opposite of a 15-second video clip. I mean, just look at the contrast here. It could not be more stark. On one hand, you have the world of bite-sized entertainment. And on the other, you have a tool that can help a scientist visualize something as insanely complex as plasma flow inside a nuclear fusion reactor. It's just a profound leap in what a tool can help us do.
And when you look at the capabilities of this kind of AI, they all demand the very skills that short-form video just doesn't exercise. We're talking PhD-level reasoning, the ability to analyze super long academic papers, and to act as a genuine thought partner on really complicated projects.
These new models can even work as what some people call agents. So what does that mean? Well, let's say you give it a really complex goal, like build me a flight tracker app. As you can see here, it doesn't just spit out a little piece of code. It plans the entire project, it writes the code, and then it actually validates its own work to make sure it's right. This requires sustained, goal-oriented thinking.
Okay, so we've seen these two totally different paths for technology. The dopamine machine on one side, the thought partner on the other. The big question is, how do we navigate a world where both of these things exist at the exact same time?
This really is the fundamental question for all of us living right now, isn't it? We have instant access to tools that can literally fragment our attention, and at the same time, tools that can powerfully augment our intelligence.
We are actively living in a world that contains both the dopamine machine, designed for endless passive scrolling, and the thought partner, designed for deep, active creation. And they are pulling our minds, our cognitive abilities, in completely opposite directions.
And that really leads to the final and I think most important takeaway. The technology itself, whether it's a scrolling video feed or an incredibly powerful AI, it's just a tool. The most powerful force shaping your mind isn't the code. It's the conscious choice you make every day about which tools you're going to use and what you're going to use them for. The future of your focus isn't being written by some algorithm. It's being built by you.